I have come to the conclusion the FBI needs to be disbanded, broken up, and rebuilt. For a while now, it has become clear the FBI favors fighting the left's political battles over fighting crime. This weekend, when a deranged Islamic terrorist by the name of Malik Faisal Akram took 4 hostages at a Texas synagogue and demanded the release of another terrorist known as Lady Al-Qaeda, Ifi Siddiqui, a woman serving 86 years for plotting to shoot American military officers in the Afghanistan. He wanted her released. The FBI's special agent in charge, Matthew DeSarno, offered up this nonsensical but oh so politically motivated statement.
We do believe from our engagement with this subject that he was singularly focused on one issue, and it was not specifically related to the Jewish community, but we're continuing to work to find motive.
Not related to the Jewish community. This is our FBI? So let me spell this out. An Islamic terrorist travels to America to take Jewish hostages on the Sabbath, no less, and then demand the release of another terrorist who wanted her jurors' DNA tested to remove them from the jury pool if they had, quote, Zionist or Israeli backgrounds. And the FBI can't determine a motive here? Give me a break. These political games and even cover-ups need to stop. The FBI clearly now takes its cues from the left-wing media and the likes of, well, Michigan's left-wing attorney general, who before any facts were known, tried to blame the hostage situation on right-wing extremist groups.
We were seeing an exponential rise in hate crimes and an exponential rise in the formation and the membership of these extremist organizations, many of which are white supremacy organizations, and they traffic in hatred against Jews and other minorities.
Look, when I worked for NRA TV, I had to wait for facts to come out. The left does not do that. They do not wait for facts. Even the occupier of the White House, Joe Biden, after learning all the important facts, well, he released a statement about the terror plot and, not surprisingly, makes no mention of Islamic extremism. Instead, he uses the same deceitful tactic as Michigan's Attorney General, writing this: "We will stand against anti-Semitism and against the rise of extremism in this country." Now, may I remind President Gravy Brain that Malik Faisal Akram came from Britain 2 weeks ago. He is a foreign invader. He's not a homegrown domestic terrorist, which brings us back to the FBI. How did this Islamic terrorist get a visa to come to the United States? His brother confirmed to the media in Britain that Malik Akram has a long criminal record and a history of mental illness. How did the FBI not know about this guy? Clearly, it failed once again. Here's why the FBI continues to fail, by the way. Because it simply isn't paying attention to any of these important issues, and its lack of attention to real threats. That's what's going to get Americans killed. Real threats like Islamic extremism is taking a back seat to the attention the FBI is putting on phony threats, like the January 6th security breach and those involved. I went to the FBI's Twitter feed just for fun over the weekend. Take a look at this. On the 15th and 16th of January, the FBI made 7 posts, 5 of them looking for information about January 6th so-called suspects. There's not one mention of the Islamic terrorist, much less a request for information about him. Wouldn't that be nice? But this is the FBI's history. It has now been weaponized to target conservatives, including President Trump and his allies. The Russian collusion hoax proved all that. And this political ignorance of Islamic extremism goes all the way back to 9/11. And remember the attack at Fort Hood by a Muslim infiltrator in the name of Allah? The FBI dubbed that attack a case of workplace violence. And now, the FBI has the audacity to play the hero role in the rescue of these hostages in Colleyville, Texas, when it's the FBI's blindness to this terrorist's dangerous past that nearly got these hostages killed.
The 4 people who were rescued are not in need of medical attention, are with FBI agents right now, will be reunited with their family unharmed.
Folks, rescued? The FBI didn't rescue anyone. How do I know? Because the rabbi says so. Listen to the rabbi tell his story of escaping the hostage taker on CBS.
When I saw an opportunity where he wasn't in a good position, I made sure that the two gentlemen who were still with me, that they were ready to go. The exit wasn't too far away. I told them to go. I threw a chair at the gunman, and I headed for the door. And all three of us were able to get out without even a shot being fired.
Look, that is level-headedness. That is hero behavior right there from the rabbi. The FBI didn't have anything to do with it. They saved themselves. And they credit the synagogue's active shooter training, which I recommend every place of worship go through. They credit that in helping them to get out alive. And in front of that synagogue, with Jews around the world focused on the tiny town of Colleyville, that special agent in charge made one of the most egregious and politically dopey statements ever uttered by a law enforcement officer.
I do not have any information right now that indicates that this is part of any kind of ongoing threat.
No indication it's not part of any ongoing threat? Islamic extremism is very real. It is a war we'll be fighting forever. Thanks to Team Biden, Al-Qaeda and ISIS are back on the rise. The Islamic extremist hatred towards Jews is just as strong now as it ever was. In fact, to the Islamic terrorist out there, any of them, there is only one greater enemy than Israel, by the way. And that is, of course, the United States. And that FBI agent wants us to believe that this hostage plot isn't part of an ongoing threat. It is the ongoing threat. But the FBI would rather you believe that the real threat is, well, quite frankly, you and me. We're the real threat. We, conservatives, Trump supporters, we're the domestic terrorists. And they don't like that we are willing to use truth bombs and the Constitution to fight back against this government's tyranny and oppression.
After the last election, liberty-minded Americans are facing a difficult question. What do we do now? We do have a plan to stop them. This is the only plan that bypasses Biden and Congress to save the republic. Sign the petition at conventionofstates.com.